You lie awake and notice the quiet around you, a stillness that feels full rather than empty. Even now, nothing is truly at rest. Beneath the calm, the universe continues its gentle activity, a soft rearranging of energy and possibility. This is not noise, not chaos, but a low hum of becoming. You sense that silence is not an absence, only a pause between movements, a held breath in an endless rhythm. Tonight, you begin listening to that rhythm, letting your awareness settle into its patient, unhurried flow. It carries you gently inward, inviting curiosity, comfort, and unforced attention now. You feel your body resting, supported by the surface beneath you, yet inside, countless motions continue. Your heart presses and releases, lungs fill and soften, cells exchange tiny parcels of energy. None of this asks for effort. It happens because the universe is built to move. Entropy, though unnamed for now, is already present, a tendency toward change that never sleeps. You do not need to understand it yet. You only need to feel that motion can be gentle, natural, and deeply safe. It rocks you, like water rocking a quiet shore, again and again, without demand, without hurry. You imagine the universe itself, vast and dark, not frozen but softly alive. Stars burn, planets turn, particles drift through spacious distances. Energy moves because it can, slipping from one form into another, never stopping, never vanishing. This movement has a direction, subtle but persistent. It favors spreading, sharing, evening out extremes. A hot place cools, a tense difference relaxes. Entropy is this leaning toward balance, like sand slowly leveling after a footstep. You do not see disorder here, only a preference for calm, spaciousness, and possibility. The universe is not rushing, it is easing itself open, moment by moment. You sense how this gentle leaning gives time its shape. Moments flow forward, never quite reversing. A breath taken cannot be untaken, warmth released does not gather itself back. Entropy quietly marks the difference between before and after. This is not loss, but direction. Like a story read aloud, each line follows the last, building meaning as it goes. You are inside such a story now, carried along without effort. There is comfort in knowing you do not need to choose the next moment. It arrives on its own, shaped by countless releases of energy, each one guiding you onward. You notice that rest does not mean stopping. Even sleep is active, a careful choreography of slowing and repair. Your body releases heat, lets thoughts loosen, redistributes energy toward balance. Entropy works here too, not as an enemy, but as a caretaker. By allowing things to spread out, it prevents strain, protects against extremes. Tension melts when it is allowed to move. You feel this melting now, muscles softening, awareness widening. Nothing is demanded. Nothing is forced. The universe asks only that you allow its natural easing, its quiet wisdom, to pass through you like warmth, slow and steady, kind. You might wonder, faintly, why anything ever gathers at all. Why stars ignite, why bodies form, why thoughts arise. The answer rests in chance and constraint, in moments where energy happens to linger. For a while, patterns hold. They glow, move, and feel solid. Yet even these are temporary, borrowing stability from a universe that prefers flow. Entropy waits, patient and impartial, ensuring that no arrangement becomes permanent. This is not cruel, it is fair. It allows new patterns to appear again and again, without end. You are one such pattern, precious because you change. You rest easier knowing this. As you breathe, you share energy with the room. Warmth leaves your skin, drifts outward, and fades into the air. This is a quiet gift, unnoticed but constant. Entropy encourages this sharing, smoothing sharp contrasts between you and what surrounds you. There is less difference now than before. The room feels more even, more settled. You do not lose anything essential by this exchange. Energy continues, only redistributed. The universe keeps careful track of these movements, like a soft accounting, always balancing, always fair. You float within that balance, held by invisible laws that do not judge, only guide, gently. You may feel small against such vastness, but you are not separate from it. The same rules that guide galaxies also guide your heartbeat. Entropy does not single you out. It treats all systems alike, from stars to cells. This equality is strangely comforting. Nothing is required to be perfect. Everything is allowed to change. You do not have to hold yourself together by will. The universe does that work, moment by moment. Your task is simpler, to notice, to soften, to trust the process already unfolding. You sink deeper into rest, carried by principles quieter than words. In this noticing, fear loosens. Entropy is often described as decay, but here, it feels like honesty. It reveals that effort cannot freeze the world, and that release is natural. You are not failing when things drift. You are aligning with how reality works. The universe does not cling. It flows. You practice that flow now, letting thoughts rise and pass without capture. Each passing thought leaves a little more space. Each space feels calmer. You are learning, gently, how to move with entropy, rather than against it, like floating instead of swimming. The effort fades. The calm remains, quietly. You sense that this calm is not emptiness, but readiness. A surface smoothed by time reflects light more evenly. So too does a mind that releases resistance. Entropy prepares systems for what comes next, by clearing away strain. As you rest, your body performs this preparation, distributing energy where it is needed. Repair happens. Balance returns. You do not witness this work, but you feel its result as ease. The universe tends to you, quietly, as it tends to everything. There is no rush. The process unfolds at its own pace, patient, asking nothing more than time and permission. As the night deepens, you recognize that you are participating in something ancient. Long before names, before equations, there was this drift. Energy spreading, differences softening, motion continuing. Entropy does not announce itself. It simply happens. You do not need to chase it, define it, or resist it. You only rest within its presence. This resting is not passive, it is cooperative. You allow the universe to do what it does best. In return, it carries you towards sleep, layer by layer, smoothing the edges of awareness. The day loosens. The night holds you. Nothing is unfinished. Everything is moving. You remain aware, just enough to notice a question forming. If energy always spreads, where does it go next? You feel warmth leaving you, drifting outward, seeking balance beyond your skin. This wandering heat is entropy's next expression, a quiet journey you are about to follow. For now, you rest, suspended between giving and receiving. The universe continues, softly, patiently. Your breathing slows. Attention dims. In the gentle exchange of warmth and space, a new curiosity waits, ready to unfold when you drift a little deeper, wondering how far this warmth can travel and what it touches along the way. Warmth is already on the move, slipping away from you with calm intention, and you begin to sense that its quiet journey will be the next story waiting to be told. You notice the warmth of your body against the quiet air of the room. It feels gentle, almost tender, as if it belongs both to you and to everything around you. This warmth is not fixed. It does not stay where it begins. It drifts, slowly and patiently, away from you. Heat is a traveler by nature, always moving from where there is more to where there is less. You feel it leaving your skin, dissolving into the space around you, softening the difference between you and the night. Nothing forces it to go. It moves because this is what energy prefers to do. You imagine warmth as a shy guest, reluctant to linger too long in one place. It slips quietly across boundaries, passing through air, fabric, walls, and time. Entropy guides this movement, not with urgency, but with calm certainty. Sharp contrasts are uncomfortable for the universe. A hot place beside a cold one feels unfinished, like a sentence waiting to be resolved. Heat resolves it. It spreads until the contrast relaxes, until difference becomes similarity. This spreading is not wasteful. It is generous. Energy shares itself freely, easing tension wherever it finds it. As you breathe, warm air leaves your body and cooler air enters. The exchange is subtle, almost imperceptible, yet constant. Each breath carries tiny packets of energy outward, blending your warmth with the room. Entropy smiles on this exchange. It favors balance, not because balance is perfect, but because it is peaceful. When temperatures even out, systems rest more easily. You feel this peace now, as your body no longer needs to defend its warmth. The room meets you halfway. You are not isolated. You are participating. You think of a cup of hot tea left on a table. At first, steam rises, and the cup feels alive with heat. Slowly, without instruction, it cools. The warmth drifts into the surrounding air, warming it slightly, until both reach the same quiet temperature. No energy is lost in this process. It simply changes location, changes form. Entropy ensures that energy spreads thin rather than staying concentrated. This thinning feels like relaxation, like releasing a clenched hand. You recognize that your own body follows the same rule, letting go of excess warmth so that nothing becomes strained. You might wonder why heat never gathers itself back again. Why the tea does not reheat on its own. Why warmth does not return unasked. Entropy provides the answer, gently. While it is possible for energy to gather, it is unimaginably unlikely without help. There are too many paths outward, too many places for warmth to go. Spreading is easy. Gathering requires effort. The universe chooses the easier path, again and again. You feel comfort in this simplicity. There is no drama here, only preference, only probability quietly shaping experience. You sense that warmth carries time with it. Once heat has spread, the moment that created it cannot be undone. Entropy marks this passage, reminding the universe which way time flows. The warmth you released a moment ago is already elsewhere, woven into the background of the room. It becomes part of the night, indistinguishable from other warmth released by other bodies, other days. This blending is not erasure. It is belonging. Your energy joins a larger story, one that does not single you out, but welcomes you all the same. As your body cools slightly, it adjusts. Muscles soften. The effort to regulate temperature eases. Entropy assists again, encouraging your internal systems to settle into efficiency. Heat inside you moves too, flowing from warmer areas to cooler ones, smoothing differences within. This internal wandering is quiet and constant. You do not feel it as motion, but as comfort. Your body knows how to cooperate with entropy, how to use it to maintain balance without conscious thought. You trust this knowledge, ancient and reliable. You imagine warmth traveling far beyond the room, carried by air currents, by molecules colliding and sharing energy. Eventually, that warmth will spread so thin that it can no longer be felt as warmth at all. It becomes background, part of the universe's average calm. Entropy guides energy toward this fate, not as an ending, but as a settling. Differences fade. Extremes soften. Everything becomes more evenly shared. This is not emptiness. It is quiet fullness, like a lake at dawn, smooth and reflective, holding the sky without effort. You reflect on how comforting warmth feels precisely because it does not stay. If heat remained locked in one place, it would become unbearable. Its ability to wander is what makes it gentle. Entropy ensures that energy does not overwhelm. It spreads generosity across space and time. You feel gratitude for this kindness, even if you have never named it before. The simple act of cooling, of sharing warmth with the world, becomes an act of trust. You allow the universe to take what you do not need and redistribute it wisely. Your thoughts begin to slow, mirroring the gradual movement of heat. There is no sudden change, only a steady easing. The room feels more uniform now, less defined by edges. You feel less separate from it. Entropy dissolves boundaries softly, without erasing identity. You are still you, but you are also part of the environment, exchanging energy freely. This exchange feels safe, inevitable, and deeply calming. You let yourself sink further into rest, carried by the same rule that cools stars and cups of tea alike. As warmth continues its journey, you realize it never truly disappears. It only becomes harder to notice, spread across vastness. Entropy hides energy in plain sight, distributing it so evenly that it feels like stillness. But stillness, you now sense, is only balanced motion. Heat has not stopped moving. It has simply joined everything else. You rest inside this understanding, breathing slowly, letting go of effort, allowing the universe to manage its own gentle accounting. You do not need to follow the warmth anymore. It knows where to go. And yet, a new thought lingers softly. If warmth always spreads, if energy prefers to wander, how do patterns ever form at all? How does order appear, even briefly, in a universe so committed to release? As you drift deeper into rest, this question settles beside you, quiet and patient, waiting to be explored as you begin to notice how fragile and how precious moments of order truly are. As the last traces of warmth fade into balance, You begin to wonder how anything ever holds its shape for long, and why order feels so rare and gentle when it appears. You begin to notice how easily your mind recognizes patterns. Shapes, rhythms, routines. Your awareness gently arranges the world into something familiar. Order feels comforting. It gives you a sense of ground beneath your thoughts, a quiet assurance that things belong where they are. Yet as you rest, you sense something softer beneath this order, something patient and unbothered, waiting. Order, you realize, is not permanent. It is borrowed. It exists for a while, held together by effort, energy, and care, before slowly loosening its grip and returning to flow. You imagine a sandcastle near the edge of the sea. Carefully shaped walls stand proud for a moment, holding their form against the open sky. But the ocean never stops moving. Each wave arrives gently, not to destroy, but to reclaim. Grain by grain, the castle softens, its sharp lines rounding, its towers sinking back into the shore. Entropy is like that tide. It does not rush. It does not judge. It simply continues, reminding every structure that stillness is temporary and that change is always waiting nearby. You feel this truth inside your own body. Your posture, your temperature, your steady breathing, all are forms of order carefully maintained. Muscles hold shape. Chemical balances stay within narrow ranges. This organization feels natural, but it requires constant work beneath your awareness. Energy flows through you to keep things arranged just so. Entropy presses quietly against this effort, encouraging release. Without energy, order would dissolve. Yet instead of feeling threatened by this, you feel a strange appreciation. Order is meaningful precisely because it must be sustained. It is an active choice made by the universe, moment by moment. You think of snowflakes forming in cold air. Each one is intricate, symmetrical, and fleeting. For a brief time, conditions align just right for structure to appear. Then warmth returns, and the pattern melts away. Entropy does not erase beauty, it limits its duration. This limitation makes the moment brighter, more tender. You sense that your own ordered experiences, clear thoughts, steady days, familiar routines are like these snowflakes. Temporary, yes, but deeply real while they exist. Their impermanence does not lessen them. It gives them meaning. As you lie still, you notice how your thoughts drift when not gently guided. Order in the mind, too, requires energy. Focus gathers ideas into lines and shapes, but without effort, they wander. Entropy welcomes this wandering. It allows thoughts to loosen, to blur, to merge into one another. This is not failure. It is rest. The mind is permitted to release structure when it is no longer needed. You do not have to hold everything together tonight. The universe gives you permission to soften, to let mental patterns relax into something simpler and quieter. You reflect on how cities, too, must fight entropy. Buildings stand only because materials are constantly maintained. Without repair, structures crumble. This is not because the city is flawed, but because entropy favors spreading and dispersal. Concentrated arrangements strain against the natural preference for openness. Yet humans continue to build, knowing this. Order is not created in denial of entropy, but in conversation with it. We accept that maintenance is part of existence. The effort itself becomes meaningful. Holding shape, even briefly, becomes an act of care. Your body understands this deeply. Every cell works to keep itself organized, moving energy, repairing damage, correcting imbalance. Entropy waits at every boundary, ready to blur edges, to relax gradients. Life responds by constantly renewing itself. This dance feels delicate but resilient. You are not fragile. You are dynamic. Order lives in motion, not in stillness. As long as energy flows, patterns can exist. When flow slows, patterns gently fade. You feel reassured by this honesty. Nothing is pretending to last forever. You sense that order often feels like control, but here it feels more like cooperation. Structures arise when conditions allow. They persist as long as energy supports them. Then they release. There is no betrayal in this process. Only rhythm. Entropy does not steal order away, it waits until order is ready to let go. This waiting is patient, respectful. You notice how many things in your life soften only when they are no longer needed. Tension leaves after effort. Wakefulness leaves after the day is complete. Sleep arrives when structure loosens its grip. You feel your breathing slow, becoming less deliberate, more automatic. This is order yielding to ease. Your body does not collapse when you stop controlling it. It reorganizes itself in quieter ways. Entropy helps here too, smoothing internal differences, allowing systems to find comfortable balance. You trust this process. You do not need to oversee it. Order does not vanish when you rest. It simply changes form, becoming simpler, more diffuse, more suited to the night. You imagine the universe itself filled with temporary patterns. Galaxies swirl, stars burn, planets form, all held together by energy flows that will one day change. Entropy waits beyond every orbit, beyond every flame. This waiting does not feel ominous. It feels calm. The universe is not anxious about permanence. It allows things to exist fully, then allows them to pass. You sense that this same generosity applies to you. You are allowed to be organized, focused, and awake. You are also allowed to loosen, drift, and sleep. As your awareness dims, you notice how precious order feels when you stop demanding it. You do not need clarity tonight. You do not need structure. The gift of order has already been given to you today, and now it can rest. Entropy gently gathers the edges of experience, rounding them, smoothing them into something quieter. You do not resist. You let go of the need to hold yourself together. The universe continues its patient work, redistributing energy, releasing tension, guiding you toward deeper rest. A final thought lingers softly. If order always fades, if patterns cannot last, then something must give direction to this fading. Something must guide the sequence of moments, ensuring that change moves forward rather than backward. As you drift closer to sleep, you sense that this direction has a name, and that its steady flow will soon carry you into the next quiet understanding. As order loosens its gentle hold, you begin to feel the pull of something deeper still, a one-way current quietly guiding every change forward through time. You notice time most clearly when you stop trying to measure it. In the quiet of the night, seconds no longer announce themselves. Minutes soften. The future feels vague and open, while the past feels solid, already shaped. You sense that time moves in one direction only, like a wide, slow river carrying everything with it. You do not need to paddle. You are already afloat. Entropy is the current beneath you, invisible yet steady, giving time its gentle push forward, moment by moment, without pause. You imagine standing beside that river, watching leaves drift past. You can see where they have been, but not where they will land. The water never reverses its course. This is how time feels inside you. Memories stack behind you, clear and textured, while what lies ahead remains uncertain and light. Entropy creates this difference. As energy spreads and differences soften, moments leave a trail. Once energy has moved, it does not gather itself back into the same shape. The river remembers where it has been, even as it continues onward. You think of a glass falling and shattering on the floor. The pieces scatter easily, spreading outward in all directions. You never see the reverse, the shards leaping back into a perfect glass. Not because it is forbidden by the laws of motion, but because entropy makes it unimaginably unlikely. Too many paths lead forward, too few lead back. Time follows the same logic. It prefers what is easy, what is probable. Moving forward means spreading energy, releasing tension, increasing balance. Going backward would require countless tiny coincidences, all at once. The universe chooses the simpler story. You feel comfort in this simplicity. Time is not cruel. It is consistent. Entropy does not rush you along, it merely prevents return. Each moment opens, then closes, gently sealing itself behind you. You do not lose the moment when it passes. It becomes part of the past, stored as memory, as consequence, as trace. The warmth you released earlier is gone from your skin, but it exists elsewhere, diffused into the room, into the night. Time records this movement by refusing to undo it. Forward becomes the only available direction. As you lie still, you notice how your body lives inside this one-way flow. A breath once taken cannot be taken again. Muscles relax, and that exact state never repeats. Even stillness changes. Entropy ensures that no two moments are identical. This uniqueness gives time its texture. If moments could repeat perfectly, time would feel flat, meaningless. Instead, each moment carries the weight of irreversibility. This weight is not heavy, it is grounding. It reminds you that now matters, even when now is quiet and simple. You reflect on how time feels slower when nothing changes and faster when much does. Yet in truth, entropy never alters its pace. Energy continues to spread at its steady rate, indifferent to your attention. What changes is your awareness. When your mind is busy, it marks differences more often, creating the feeling of speed. When your mind rests, differences blur, and time feels wide and slow. Tonight, entropy helps you by smoothing these differences. It softens the edges between moments, allowing time to feel like a gentle glide rather than a rush. You imagine the universe at its beginning, energy tightly packed, intensely uneven. Time, then, must have felt sharp, dramatic, full of sudden change. As entropy increases, as energy spreads, the universe relaxes. Time stretches. Events space themselves farther apart. The future becomes quieter, calmer, less urgent. You feel a hint of this cosmic relaxation in your own body. As energy distributes evenly, your internal sense of time loosens. There is no pressure to arrive anywhere. You are exactly where the current places you. You notice how memory works differently from imagination. Memory feels anchored, detailed, resistant to change. Imagination feels light, flexible, easily reshaped. Entropy explains this too. The past is defined because energy has already moved and settled. The future is undefined because energy has not yet taken its paths. Time's arrow points from definition toward possibility. You rest at the boundary between them, in the present, where energy is actively choosing how to spread next. This choice is not conscious. It is statistical, guided by probability, by the quiet preference for balance. You may feel a gentle sadness knowing you cannot return to earlier moments. Yet that sadness is softened by understanding. Time does not take moments away. It transforms them. Each moment leaves behind effects that shape what follows. Entropy ensures continuity, not erasure. The river carries everything forward, including what has already passed. You are not leaving your life behind as you move through time. You are carrying it with you, distributed across memory, influence, and change. This thought feels steady and reassuring, like a hand resting lightly on your back. As your breathing deepens, you sense how sleep itself is a journey forward in time. You do not fall asleep backward into yesterday. You drift into a new state, guided by the same current that guides stars and seasons. Entropy helps your brain release alertness, spreading neural activity into calmer patterns. Time inside sleep feels different because the markers of change are fewer. The river widens. The current slows. Yet it never stops. Even in dreams, energy moves, memories shift, processes continue. Time carries you gently through the night. You imagine standing still in the river, letting water pass around you. Resistance would only tire you. Surrender feels easier. Time flows whether you fight it or not. Entropy ensures this fairness. Nothing is singled out. Everything moves forward together. You feel relief in this equality. You do not need to manage time. You do not need to hurry or hold back. The current knows where to go. Your task is simply to float, to trust the direction, to allow yourself to be carried without effort. You notice that fear often comes from imagining time running out. But here, time feels abundant, spacious, patient. Entropy does not rush toward an ending. It moves steadily toward balance. The river does not care how fast you reach the sea. It cares only that it continues to flow. You rest inside this continuity, feeling the gentle pull forward, not toward loss, but toward completion of each moment as it arrives. Nothing is skipped. Nothing is wasted. Every second is fully lived, even when you are asleep. As the night deepens, your awareness narrows. The past fades into softness. The future dissolves into blur. Only the present remains, carried forward without strain. Entropy holds this moment open just long enough for you to release it. You feel the rhythm of time not as ticking, but as breathing. In, out. Before, after. Flow, release. You drift further, trusting the current, sensing that beneath time itself there is something smaller still, something moving endlessly, quietly, within every moment. That something is motion at the tiniest scale, invisible but constant. As you float downstream, you begin to sense that time's arrow is built from countless tiny movements, dancing beneath awareness, shaping everything you feel. As time carries you onward without resistance, you begin to sense the hidden motions beneath it, countless tiny movements quietly shaping every moment from the inside. You rest in what feels like stillness, yet beneath that calm, an unseen world is alive with motion. Inside you, around you, and within the air itself, countless tiny beings are moving without pause. Molecules shift, spin, vibrate, and drift, never settling into true rest. This hidden activity does not announce itself. It hums quietly beneath awareness, forming the foundation of everything you feel. What you call stillness is simply motion so balanced and even that it feels smooth. Tonight, you begin to sense that calm is not the absence of movement, but its most harmonious expression. You imagine molecules as gentle dancers, each one following simple rules, never colliding with intention, never stopping to plan. They move because energy passes through them, nudging them into motion. Some vibrate in place, others glide, others bump and exchange tiny parcels of warmth. Entropy lives here, not as disorder, but as permission. Permission for motion to continue, for energy to spread, for differences to soften. No molecule resists this dance. It is what they are made to do, and together, their countless movements create the world you know. You feel your body breathing, rising and falling, yet the deeper rhythm belongs to these smaller motions. Molecules in your lungs rush in with each breath, collide with tissue, share energy, and rush out again changed. Inside your blood, molecules glide past one another, carrying warmth, nutrients, signals. This is not chaos. It is coordination without command. Entropy allows energy to move freely among these tiny participants, ensuring that no part becomes too crowded, too tense, too still. Balance emerges from motion, not from control. You think of a room filled with sunlight. The light feels steady, but its particles race through space at incredible speed. In the same way, warmth in your body feels gentle, yet it is carried by frantic molecular motion. Faster motion feels warmer. Slower motion feels cooler. Temperature, you realize, is not a thing but a story about how quickly molecules dance. Entropy guides these dances toward sharing. Fast movers slow by giving energy to slower ones. Differences fade. The dance becomes more even, more relaxed. You feel this relaxation now, as your body cools slightly and settles deeper into rest. You imagine what would happen if molecules truly stopped. The thought feels strange, almost unsettling. Without motion, there would be no warmth, no flexibility, no life. Everything would be rigid, frozen beyond time. Entropy ensures this never happens. It keeps energy moving, even at the lowest temperatures possible. Motion becomes smaller, quieter, but it never disappears. Even in deep cold, molecules still tremble faintly. The universe refuses absolute stillness. You take comfort in this refusal. It means change is always possible, that nothing is ever completely stuck. As your awareness drifts, you sense that these molecular motions give rise to time itself. Each vibration, each collision, marks a tiny before and after. Together, they weave the arrow of time you felt earlier, building it from the bottom up. Time is not imposed from above. It grows from countless microscopic changes, each one irreversible in its own small way. Entropy ensures that these changes favor spreading, mixing, sharing. The universe keeps moving forward because its smallest pieces never stop moving at all. You notice how your thoughts slow as your body prepares for sleep. Behind this slowing, molecules in your brain shift their patterns. Chemical messengers diffuse more gently. Electrical signals soften. Energy redistributes, guided by entropy toward quieter states. Nothing shuts off suddenly. The process is gradual, graceful. You do not fall asleep like a switch flipping. You drift as molecules adjust their dances, step by step, easing you toward rest. Sleep is not escape. It is a reorganization, a change in the rhythm of motion. You reflect on how randomness is often blamed for this microscopic activity. But what feels random is only too complex to track. Each molecule follows clear rules, responding to energy, collisions, and probabilities. Entropy does not introduce confusion. It simply allows all allowed motions to occur. From this allowance, rich patterns emerge. Liquids flow. Gases expand. Solids hold shape while vibrating quietly within. Your body exists because these patterns remain stable enough, long enough, to support life. You feel gratitude for this delicate balance, maintained by motion rather than stasis. You imagine the air around you as a sea of invisible movement. Molecules rush past your skin, carrying warmth away, replacing it with cooler energy. This constant exchange feels peaceful, not intrusive. Your body is not sealed off from the world. It is open, porous, participating. Entropy encourages this openness, dissolving sharp boundaries at the molecular level. You are not a closed system. You are a conversation, a slow exchange between inside and outside, guided by rules older than thought. As you sink deeper into stillness, you realize that rest is a macroscopic illusion. At large scales, things slow. At small scales, they never do. This realization does not disturb you. It comforts you. It means the universe is always awake, always tending to itself, even when you sleep. You are allowed to let go because something deeper continues the work. Molecules maintain temperature, pressure, balance. Entropy ensures that nothing builds up too much tension. The night watches over you at levels you cannot see. You sense that these tiny motions connect everything. The same molecular dances occur in stars, oceans, forests, and clouds. Scale changes, but rules remain. Entropy does not care where it operates. It guides motion everywhere, patiently, impartially. This universality feels soothing. You are not alone in your rest. The entire universe participates in this quiet activity, moving, adjusting, balancing itself endlessly. Your sleep becomes part of a much larger rhythm, shared by all matter. As your awareness thins, you stop trying to imagine each tiny dancer. The picture fades into a feeling instead. A sense of gentle activity beneath calm. A hum that holds you without noise. You trust that motion will continue without your attention. You allow yourself to drift, knowing that even in deepest rest, nothing essential stops. Energy flows. Molecules dance. Entropy keeps time quietly, invisibly, faithfully. A final curiosity brushes your thoughts. If motion is everywhere, if molecules never stop, then why does energy sometimes feel crowded, tense, compressed? Why does it seem to want space? As sleep draws closer, this question settles softly beside you, waiting to unfold in the next gentle exploration. As the tiny motions continue without pause, you begin to sense that energy itself longs for room to breathe, gently stretching outward whenever it can. You begin to sense a quiet preference woven into everything around you. Energy does not like to be crowded. When gathered too tightly, it presses outward, searching for room. It does this gently, without urgency, like a body stretching after rest. This stretching is not dramatic. It is patient, inevitable, and deeply calming. Entropy lives in this preference, guiding energy to spread, to thin, to explore all the space available to it. Tonight, you feel this openness welcoming you, inviting your own tension to loosen. You imagine a drop of ink placed in clear water. At first, the color is dense, concentrated, unmistakable. Slowly, without stirring, it begins to unfurl. Tendrils reach outward, branching, dissolving, fading into the surrounding liquid. Eventually, the water is evenly tinted, and the original drop is impossible to find. Nothing pushed the ink apart. It spread because there were many more ways to be dispersed than to remain gathered. Entropy favors this abundance of possibilities. Spreading is simply the most likely path. You feel this principle in your body. When muscles tense, they feel crowded with effort. When they relax, energy redistributes, flowing outward, easing pressure. Comfort arrives not from holding, but from releasing. Entropy encourages this release. It does not force it, but it waits patiently until holding becomes unnecessary. As you lie still, energy within you slowly evens out. Warmth spreads. Signals soften. Differences fade. You are not collapsing. You are expanding into ease. You think of air filling a room. When released from a container, it rushes outward, filling every corner. It never gathers itself back into the container without help. There are simply too many ways to be spread out, too few ways to be confined. Entropy explains this without judgment. It does not say confinement is wrong, only that it is rare. Nature prefers what is statistically generous. Space invites energy, and energy accepts the invitation gladly. You feel reassured knowing that release is not failure. It is the natural outcome of freedom. You notice how crowded thoughts feel when you try to hold them tightly. Planning, worrying, repeating, these compress mental energy into narrow channels. Rest allows thoughts to spread, to wander, to soften into the background. Entropy works here too, gently redistributing attention until nothing presses too hard. This is why sleep comes more easily when you stop trying to control it. The mind opens. Energy finds more paths. Tension dissolves not through effort, but through permission. You imagine the universe just after its beginning, energy packed unimaginably tight. In that crowded state, expansion was inevitable. Space itself grew, giving energy room to spread. As space expanded, energy thinned, cooled, relaxed. Entropy guided this process, favoring openness over compression. You feel a quiet echo of this cosmic expansion in your own body. As you rest, internal space seems to widen. Breathing deepens. Awareness stretches. You are not becoming empty. You are becoming spacious. You sense that spreading out does not mean disappearing. Energy remains present, but more evenly shared. When differences soften, systems become calmer. Sharp edges blur. Extremes ease. Entropy moves systems toward this calm not because calm is perfect, but because it is stable. Crowded energy is unstable. It strains against itself. Spread out energy rests more easily. You feel this stability settling over you now, like a blanket gently unfolding across your body. You reflect on how water seeks the lowest point, how it spreads across surfaces rather than piling up. This behavior is not a decision. It is a response to freedom. Given many paths, energy chooses the ones that require the least resistance. Entropy describes this preference mathematically, but you feel it intuitively. It feels like relief. Like setting down something heavy you did not realize you were holding. You allow yourself to set it down now. You notice that spreading out also creates possibilities. When energy explores more space, new patterns can form. Diffusion allows mixtures, interactions, exchanges. Life itself depends on this openness. Nutrients spread through cells. Signals diffuse through tissues. Information flows because it is not confined. Entropy enables these processes by resisting overcrowding. You feel grateful for this generosity. Without it, nothing could communicate. Everything would be locked in place. As your awareness softens, you realize that resistance to spreading often comes from fear. Fear of losing shape, of becoming less defined. Yet entropy shows that definition does not vanish when energy spreads, it simply changes scale. You remain you even as warmth leaves your skin. The room remains the room even as air moves within it. Identity does not require confinement. It requires continuity, and continuity flows naturally when energy is allowed to move freely. You imagine a crowd slowly dispersing after a gathering. Voices fade. Space opens. What remains is not absence, but quiet presence. Entropy guides systems toward this kind of quiet, where nothing presses too closely, where everything has room. This quiet does not erase what came before. It integrates it, smoothing the experience into memory. You feel this integration happening now as the day releases its grip. Experiences settle. Edges blur. The night makes room. You sense that spreading out is not an ending, but a transition. Energy that spreads can later gather again under the right conditions. Entropy does not forbid structure. It simply requires effort to maintain it. This balance feels fair. You are allowed to rest now because energy elsewhere will do the work of maintaining you. Your body spreads effort across systems, sharing the load. Nothing strains alone. Everything participates. As sleep approaches, your sense of self feels less tightly bound. Thoughts loosen. Sensations widen. You feel held by space rather than contained by form. Entropy is not taking anything from you. It is giving you room. Room to breathe, to drift, to rest without vigilance. You accept this gift easily now, trusting the quiet logic that governs stars and cells alike. A final awareness drifts through you. If energy prefers openness, if spreading brings calm, then moments of tight structure must require something special to exist at all. Something must gather energy, hold it briefly, and shape it against entropy's gentle pull. As you sink deeper into rest, this curiosity settles softly within you, ready to awaken when you begin to consider how life itself manages this delicate negotiation. As everything around you relaxes into spacious calm, you begin to wonder how living things ever gather energy long enough to grow, breathe, and briefly hold their beautiful shapes. You rest inside a quiet contradiction. All around you, energy spreads, loosens, and relaxes into balance, and yet you remain whole. Your body holds its shape. Your thoughts still form gentle patterns. Life, it seems, resists entropy. But as you settle deeper into awareness, you sense that this resistance is not defiance. It is cooperation. Life does not fight the universe's tendency toward spreading. It borrows order for a while, carefully, respectfully, and always at a cost. You imagine your body as a small island of structure in a wide, drifting sea. Molecules move everywhere, eager to spread, yet within you, they are guided into pathways. Cells build walls, pump chemicals, store energy, and repair themselves endlessly. This organization feels effortless from the outside, but inside, it is constant work. Energy flows through you to keep everything arranged just so. Entropy allows this arrangement as long as the cost is paid. Life pays by releasing disorder into the world around it. Each breath you take is part of this exchange. You inhale oxygen rich with potential energy. Inside you, that energy is used to build and maintain structure. In return, you exhale carbon dioxide, heat, and waste. Disorder leaves you as order remains. Entropy smiles at this fairness. Nothing is created from nothing. Life does not escape the rules. It participates in them honestly, transforming concentrated energy into organized moments, then releasing the excess back into the universe. You feel this exchange as warmth leaving your skin, as tiredness after effort, as hunger that reminds you to take in more energy. Living systems must constantly gather fuel because entropy never rests. If energy stopped flowing into you, order would slowly dissolve. Cells would lose structure. Patterns would fade. Life continues not because entropy is paused, but because energy keeps arriving. You sense the fragility in this arrangement, and also its quiet strength. Life persists through motion, not through stillness. You think of a spinning top. As long as energy feeds the spin, the top remains upright, balanced against gravity. Slowly, friction steals that energy, and the top wobbles, then falls. Life feels similar. Energy keeps you upright against entropy's pull. Sleep is not collapse. It is maintenance. During sleep, your body redirects energy toward repair, restoring order that daytime activity has gently worn down. You rest not to escape entropy, but to negotiate with it more effectively. You notice how growth works. A seed gathers energy from sunlight and soil, building complex structures that were not there before. Entropy allows this because the overall balance still favors disorder. The energy used by the plant spreads outward as heat. Order inside the plant is paid for by increased disorder elsewhere. Life is never free. It is fair. You feel comfort in this fairness. Nothing is cheating the universe. Everything is accounted for, gently, patiently. Your own body is a careful ledger of this exchange. Every heartbeat, every thought, every repair leaves a small trace of disorder behind. Heat dissipates. Waste products leave. Entropy keeps score quietly. Yet you are not diminished by this accounting. You are sustained by it. The rules that limit permanence also make life possible. If energy could not flow and spread, nothing could move, grow, or respond. Entropy creates the conditions for life even as it ensures life cannot last forever. You sense that living systems are not static objects, but processes. You are not a thing that stays the same. You are something that happens, moment by moment. Order is continuously rebuilt within you, like a fire that must keep burning to stay visible. When energy flows, the fire glows. When it slows, the glow dims. This does not feel tragic. It feels honest. You are allowed to shine for a while, knowing that the glow depends on constant exchange with the world. As you drift closer to sleep, you feel gratitude for this borrowed order. Your body has carried you through the day, maintaining balance against countless small disturbances. Now it begins to shift priorities, lowering alertness, redirecting energy inward. Entropy assists by smoothing differences, encouraging release. Sleep is a strategic pause, a moment where life reduces outward complexity to restore inner stability. You trust this process. You do not need to oversee it. It has been refined over billions of years. You reflect on how delicate this negotiation feels, yet how reliable it is. Every living thing participates, from the smallest bacterium to the largest whale. None escape entropy. All work with it. Life thrives not by opposing the universe, but by understanding its tendencies deeply. It builds just enough structure, just long enough, to experience something meaningful. You are part of that lineage, a brief but luminous arrangement of matter, aware of itself for a time. You feel a gentle humility in this realization. Your importance does not come from permanence, but from participation. You are part of the universe, learning how to hold order briefly, how to feel, how to reflect. Entropy does not diminish this role. It defines it. Without limits, meaning would blur. Because order is temporary, it matters. Because life is brief, it is vivid. You rest inside this truth, letting it soften any fear of release. As your breathing slows, you notice how easily your body lets go when given permission. Muscles relax. Thoughts loosen. Systems simplify. You are not dying when you sleep. You are renewing the contract with entropy, agreeing to pause complexity so it can be rebuilt tomorrow. This trust feels deep and ancient. You surrender structure knowing it will return, reshaped but familiar. Life knows how to step back without disappearing. A quiet curiosity remains. If life must constantly negotiate with entropy, then thought itself must be part of that negotiation. Awareness, memory, attention, these two require energy. As you drift deeper into rest, you begin to sense that your mind, like your body, follows entropic rules, shaping and releasing patterns as gently as breath. As life settles into renewal, you begin to wonder how your thoughts themselves rise, hold shape, and then dissolve, guided by the same quiet balance between energy and release. You notice a thought forming, soft and incomplete, like a ripple touching the surface of a quiet lake. It appears without effort, lingers briefly, then fades back into stillness. Another follows, then another. Your mind is not fixed or solid. It is fluid, responsive, always in motion. Even now, as your body rests, your thoughts move according to the same gentle rules that guide heat, molecules, and stars. Entropy lives here too, shaping awareness with the same quiet patience it applies everywhere else. You sense that thinking itself requires energy. When you focus, when you plan, when you remember, tiny electrical and chemical changes ripple through your brain. Neurons exchange signals, chemicals diffuse, warmth is released. Each thought is a small act of organization, gathering energy into a pattern that briefly holds shape. Entropy allows this gathering, but it never lets it stay for free. As a thought forms, energy spreads elsewhere as heat. Order in the mind is always paid for by disorder beyond it. You feel this cost most clearly when your mind is busy. Concentration feels warm, sometimes even tiring. That warmth is not imagined. It is real energy being released as your brain works to maintain structure. Entropy ensures that clarity cannot be permanent. The mind must eventually release its patterns, allowing energy to spread and rest. This release feels like mental softness, like thoughts becoming less sharp, more spacious. Tonight, you welcome that softness. You do not need clarity now. You need balance. You notice how memories behave differently from active thoughts. Memories feel stored, but they are not static. Each time you recall one, energy is spent reshaping it. Entropy gently alters memories with each retrieval, smoothing edges, blending details. This is not decay. It is adaptation. Your mind does not preserve the past perfectly because perfection would require constant energy. Instead, memories soften, becoming simpler, easier to carry. This lightening allows the mind to rest, to make room for what comes next. You imagine your thoughts as patterns drawn in sand. A finger traces a line, and for a moment, it is clear. Then wind and vibration blur it, not erasing it entirely, but softening it into the surface. Entropy is that wind. It does not rush to destroy meaning. It simply ensures that no pattern remains sharp forever. You feel comfort in this. It means that difficult thoughts cannot hold you indefinitely. Given time and permission, they too will loosen. As sleep approaches, your brain begins to change how it uses energy. Attention narrows. External signals matter less. Internal rhythms take priority. Entropy helps guide this transition by encouraging neural activity to spread into slower, more synchronized patterns. Sharp spikes of alertness fade. Gentle waves take their place. You feel this as heaviness behind the eyes, as a pleasant drifting. Your mind is not shutting down. It is reorganizing itself into a quieter form. You realize that confusion and restlessness often come from resisting this process. Trying to hold thoughts in place when energy is ready to spread creates tension. Entropy pushes gently against that holding, encouraging release. When you allow thoughts to pass without grasping, the mind aligns with its natural tendency. Calm emerges not because thoughts stop, but because they are no longer crowded together. Space appears between them. That space feels like relief. You sense that imagination, too, follows these rules. Images arise when energy gathers, then dissolve when energy disperses. Dreams will soon form from this same dance, borrowing energy to create fleeting worlds, then releasing it again. Dream logic feels fluid because entropy is less constrained there. Patterns form easily and fade just as easily. You do not control them. You observe them, carried along by the same principles that guide waking thought, only softer, freer. You reflect on how learning feels effortful at first, then easier with repetition. Early learning requires concentrated energy to build new neural pathways. Over time, those pathways become more efficient, requiring less energy to activate. Entropy favors this efficiency. Systems that require less energy to maintain are more stable. Your mind learns not just facts, but how to think with less strain. Sleep plays a role here too, redistributing energy, reinforcing useful patterns, and releasing others that are no longer needed. As you lie quietly, you feel your identity soften. You are still aware, still present, but less defined by thoughts. This does not feel like loss. It feels like relief from effort. Entropy invites the mind to rest by letting go of unnecessary structure. You do not disappear when thoughts fade. Something quieter remains, a simple awareness without edges. This awareness feels wide, calm, and unburdened. You notice that worry fades when you stop feeding it energy. Worry requires constant attention to maintain its shape. Without that attention, entropy gently unravels it. This is not avoidance. It is trust in the natural tendency of systems to relax when pressure is removed. Tonight, you remove pressure by resting. You allow entropy to do what it does best: spread energy evenly, soften contrasts, ease tension. You imagine your mind as a landscape at dusk. Sharp shadows lengthen, colors blend, details soften. Nothing is lost. Everything becomes gentler. Entropy lowers contrast, making extremes less pronounced. Thoughts lose their sharp edges. Emotions settle into quieter tones. This transition feels safe because it is gradual. There is no sudden drop, only a slow dimming into comfort. You sense the consciousness itself as a temporary pattern, held together by energy flows. This does not frighten you. It humbles you gently. Awareness is precious because it is active, because it requires care. Sleep does not end awareness. It reshapes it into forms that require less energy to maintain. Entropy guides this reshaping with patience, ensuring continuity without strain. You trust this guidance, feeling it carry you deeper into rest. As your breathing slows further, you stop following individual thoughts. They blur into a general sense of presence. Entropy smooths the landscape of the mind, preparing it for the quiet work of the night. Repairs will happen. Patterns will be adjusted. Energy will be redistributed wisely. You do not need to participate consciously. Letting go is enough. One last awareness flickers gently. If thoughts and minds are shaped by entropy, then entire civilizations, technologies, and stars must be shaped by it too. Everything that burns, shines, and thinks must eventually release its energy. As you drift closer to sleep, this broader picture begins to form, hinting at a universe slowly cooling, patiently, over unimaginable time. As your thoughts dissolve into quiet awareness, you begin to sense the larger mind of the cosmos itself, slowly releasing its warmth as it drifts toward a deeper, universal calm. You feel the quiet deepen, as if your own breath is syncing with something vast and slow. The universe, like your body, is releasing its warmth. Not all at once, not abruptly, but gently, steadily, over immense spans of time. Entropy guides this release, ensuring that energy flows from where it is concentrated to where it is spread thin. You rest inside this process, knowing it has been unfolding long before you, and will continue long after. You imagine the earliest moments of the universe, when everything was hot, dense, and tightly packed. Energy was everywhere, compressed into a glowing closeness. There were no stars yet, no planets, no thoughts. Just heat and motion, pressing against itself. Entropy was already present, quietly encouraging that energy to spread, to relax outward. Expansion was not chaos. It was release. As space stretched, energy diluted. Heat thinned. Tiny differences formed, small enough to seem insignificant, yet powerful enough to grow. From these differences, stars emerged. You picture a star as a patient furnace, gathering matter inward while releasing light outward. Each glow was an act of generosity. The star maintains its shape by constantly giving energy away. Entropy allows the star to exist, but only as long as it continues to pay this energetic cost. You sense how similar this is to your own body. You stay warm by releasing heat. You stay alive by exchanging energy with your surroundings. Nothing remains intact without sharing itself. Stars know this instinctively. They shine because they must. When they stop shining, they change form. Some collapse, some fade, some scatter their material into space, enriching future generations of stars and planets. Entropy ensures continuity through transformation. You imagine galaxies drifting, each one a slow whirl of light and motion. Over time, their stars burn their fuel. Bright blues fade into softer reds. Eventually, even red glows dim. The universe does not rush this process. Billions of years pass like quiet breaths. Entropy does not hurry. It simply persists, guiding energy toward balance, reducing sharp differences until contrasts soften everywhere. As you sink deeper into rest, the idea of cosmic cooling feels less abstract. You feel it in the cooling of your skin beneath the blanket, in the way your body seeks a stable temperature. The universe does the same, but on a scale beyond comprehension. Heat flows outward, radiation stretches thinner, wavelengths lengthen. Light itself grows tired, reddened by expansion, carrying less energy with every passing moment. You sense time slowing in this picture. Not because clocks stop, but because fewer energetic events occur. Fewer stars ignite. Fewer collisions release bursts of heat. The universe grows quieter, calmer, less dramatic. This is not emptiness. It is a different kind of fullness, one defined by uniformity rather than intensity. Entropy smooths the cosmic landscape, just as it smooths your thoughts before sleep. You reflect on the idea that nothing is being wasted. Energy is conserved, always present, but its ability to do work diminishes. This is the heart of entropy. Energy spreads so evenly that no gradients remain to drive motion. In your own body, this is why sleep feels still. Muscles relax. Signals slow. Differences fade. Rest is not absence. It is balance. You imagine the far future, when stars are rare and space is dark. Black holes linger, slowly releasing their stored energy in faint whispers over unimaginable times. Even they are not exempt. Entropy reaches into everything, patient and thorough. Eventually, even the densest concentrations of energy relax. The universe becomes a quiet ocean of evenly spread warmth, barely distinguishable from cold. This thought does not frighten you. It feels peaceful. There is no struggle in this future, no urgency. Everything that could happen has happened. Everything that could glow has glowed. What remains is a deep stillness, like the moment just before you fall asleep, when effort has completely dissolved. Entropy does not end the story. It completes it. You realize that this long cooling mirrors your own nightly journey. Each day, you gather energy, focus it, use it. Each night, you release it, allowing your body and mind to return to equilibrium. Sleep is your small-scale echo of cosmic cooling. A daily surrender to balance. A reminder that rest is not weakness, but alignment with the deepest rules of nature. As your awareness dims, the vastness of time stretches gently around you. You are a brief, warm pattern in a cooling universe, and that is enough. Your warmth matters now. Your thoughts matter now. Entropy does not erase meaning. It frames it, making moments precious because they are temporary. Your breathing slows further. The idea of stars fading drifts into the background, becoming more feeling than thought. The universe cools. You cool. Everything eases towards stillness together. Somewhere in this vast quiet, a question forms softly, almost imperceptibly. As the universe releases its final warmth, you begin to wonder what remains when energy can no longer move and whether stillness itself holds a deeper kind of presence. You feel the night settle around you like a gentle tide, carrying away tension, leaving your body buoyant and light. Entropy is not something to resist tonight. It is the current you ride, the soft guidance that turns effort into ease, movement into rest. You sense that everything unfolds according to the same quiet logic, from the smallest vibrating molecule beneath your skin to the distant stars slowly cooling. Nothing is wasted. Everything transforms. The universe, and you within it, are in continuous motion toward balance. Your body lets go first. Muscles soften, joints release their small resistances, breath flows deeper and slower. You notice how energy that was once concentrated in effort now diffuses evenly, smoothing edges, warming tissues evenly. You do not need to hold yourself upright against strain. Entropy carries the load you have carried so carefully all day, redistributing energy in gentle fairness. The heaviness you felt moments ago melts into a wide, calm awareness. You imagine every cell in your body participating in this release. They no longer rush, no longer strive. Molecules vibrate in perfect rhythm with one another, exchanging energy in a soft, invisible dance. Even your neurons allow signals to flow slower, less urgently. Memories settle into their compartments. Thoughts drift toward rest. Everything that required concentration is now simply part of the quiet background, a soft hum of activity that supports life without demanding attention. You reflect on the energy you carry. It does not vanish, it only changes form. Warmth spreads, muscles relax, neural patterns slow, chemical gradients equalize. Every exhalation releases a little more effort. Even when you are asleep, energy continues its patient journey, flowing, transforming, balancing. You are not idle. You are participating in a process older than you can imagine, a negotiation with entropy that keeps life, thought, and motion alive in subtle equilibrium. You sense a broader perspective now. The same principles that guide your rest govern stars, oceans, and galaxies. Energy always moves toward balance. Concentration gives way to diffusion. Hot spreads to cold, dense spreads to sparse. Your sleep mirrors cosmic processes on a tiny scale. Just as stars shine briefly before giving away their energy, you have spent the day in focused brightness, and now release it into quiet, softening the differences you carried within. This surrender is not loss. It is transformation. Every structure your body and mind maintain during the day, the posture, the focus, the thought patterns, is temporary, but it is meaningful precisely because it is impermanent. Entropy ensures this impermanence, and in doing so, it allows renewal. Tonight, as you drift, you understand that releasing effort is the only way to preserve balance, the only way to prepare for the return of activity tomorrow. You rest not against life, but within its flow. You notice how deeply trust becomes possible when you align with this principle. You do not need to monitor every breath or every heartbeat. You do not need to hold your mind in place. Entropy gently organizes the background, distributing energy and attention where they are needed, softening extremes, easing contrasts. You surrender to this intelligence, invisible yet reliable. Sleep becomes not a lapse but a guided journey, each moment smoothing into the next, each breath a bridge to rest. You imagine a leaf falling from a tree. It does not struggle against gravity, it drifts, spinning, turning, following the currents of air. Its path is determined by forces beyond its control, yet it moves gracefully, purposefully, naturally. Your body, your mind, and your energy are like that leaf tonight. They are carried by the same gentle, inevitable laws, moving toward equilibrium without resistance. There is no fear, only the peace of participation in a system larger than yourself. You feel warmth spread across your skin and through your limbs. Your heartbeat slows, steady and even. Even the sounds of the night seem synchronized with this internal flow, fading gently in and out like the ebb of a tide. You are part of this universal rhythm. Small tensions release. Large differences flatten. The boundaries between self and surroundings feel softer, more permeable. You are present, yet dissolved into the continuity of motion. Entropy guides you with patience, not coercion. As your mind drifts further, you notice thoughts arriving in soft waves, no longer sharp, no longer urgent. Memories drift alongside them, blending gently into feeling rather than cognition. Dreams, when they come, will be fragments of energy, playful and fleeting. You are aware, but not grasping. You are participating in a process that has no rush, no resistance, only the gentle unfolding of patterns into calm. You feel a profound ease in aligning yourself with this flow. The universe, in its own vast way, continues its patient cooling and balancing. Stars fade, galaxies drift, energy spreads. You rest, an echo of this cosmic rhythm, held by the same principles that govern every particle, every wave, every motion. Time moves forward, gently, predictably. Entropy ensures that everything that has been concentrated, bright, or intense eventually softens, releases, and transforms. You are part of this timeless process, riding its current without strain. Your awareness thins into a quiet, soft presence. The effort of the day dissolves entirely, leaving only warmth, rhythm, and the soft hum of life continuing. Energy circulates evenly, inside and around you. Sleep embraces you fully, the natural result of your participation in this universal balance. You are not stopping. You are not resisting. You are simply flowing, carried by forces both intimate and cosmic, timeless and patient. You sense a subtle curiosity lingering as you drift. If energy is always transforming, never lost, and if every system eventually releases its effort, then every ending is only preparation for what comes next. Even sleep, even the cooling of stars, even the dissolution of patterns, carries the seed of future motion. You rest within this awareness, calm and ready, letting your own energy merge with the flow. As you surrender fully to the gentle, inevitable movement of energy, you begin to imagine what new patterns will emerge when tomorrow or the next moment gathers its strength once more.